The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. Once more into the breach do we go, dear friends. Oh, what happened here? Something.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
And we're off 8.5 points on the S&P, 52 on the Dow, NASDAQ's off 32. And, of course, the first thing we want to start looking at is volume. Volume's pretty good. Not fantastic, pretty good. 2.2 billion shares as we start the show. It's a little volume starting to pick up to the downside. My thought is that we're probably going to try to find some kind of bottom in the next 24 hours of trading. It may be later today, it may be noon or 2 tomorrow, and then probably set up for Friday's expiration to hit 2,600 on the S&P cash. Maybe there'll be some phony news out. Maybe it just is for a day. Who knows? But my guess is there's something coming that's going to pop this market before Friday. Got a lot of people buying a lot of puts to the downside, and that's generally a good sign that you're at least going to go sideways and maybe go higher. And, you know, we're only talking, what, 23, 24 points off 2,600. That's just one good day. And could we even go higher if they actually got something done with the tax bill? I don't know how much higher we'd go, but I think you'd have one good day. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, you can always put a message in the den. But let's get to a little history, and we'll talk about it. I've got some questions about short squeezes, and we'll have a good example today how this, we'll walk through the mechanism on how it works. But let's to get that history done.
That it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1851, Moby Dick, a novel by Herman Melville. I always want to say Herman Munster. About the voyage of the sailing ship the Pequod is published in Harper & Brothers in New York. Moby Dick is now considered a great classic of American literature and contains one of the most famous opening lines in fiction. Call me Ishmael. Initially, the book was a big flop about Captain Ahab and his quest for the giant whale. Was a flop. It was actually based on a semi-true story of whaling. But more interesting to me, it was a great story, was that this put together the elements of storytelling. And when I was busy working in television and Hollywood special effects and other things, one of the things I worked on was an editing system. And so I went and took editing class and a script writing class, and I always found that, you know, if you really study something, it's all broken down to the things that you think are important. But basically, every story out there comes down to 4 elements: character, objective for that character, obstacles that keep them from getting that objective, and the theme. Most of these things are pretty much standard issue things. Rags to riches story, beating a monster, good versus evil, good triumphs despite great odds. And I always was very taken by the story of how Star Wars was written. After the success of American Graffiti, the director took $200,000 of his money and set a guy to go around the world and look for great stories. He came back and said, basically, what we're talking about is let's put everything that's common in every culture out there. And of course, he came down and wrote a thesis on what is common about all places of the world and people. And that's a young boy ends up leaving his home, traveling a great distance, battles huge odds, almost unbeatable odds, wins, and comes back, and everything goes well. And of course, they took all those parts and made Star Wars out of it, and basically constructed the perfect vehicle for telling a story out of everything, out of every culture in the world. And yes, we can't say the great whale because we all know that. Anyway, what else do we have going on out here? There was one thing. Oh, did I get to it? Did I make a slide for it? I can't remember. Here it is. Oh, yep. Interesting story, couple of legal things going on. Yelp lost a major lawsuit in California about being able to protect its users again. This actually ups the ante on anonymity on their websites. Google threw a lot of money behind Yelp so that they could quietly in the background try to do the same thing. A lot of these folks know people probably wouldn't post a lot of things on their websites if they knew that maybe that they would have to actually cough it up. This has to do with someone suing a tax preparer, and somebody said that he did a horrible job. And he says, no, I don't think I did a horrible job. Let's find out who this is and who's bad-mouthing me on Yelp. Question is whether or not you could post things, and of course, what would you post if you had to know you put your phone number and address down, opposed to just saying, you know, I was over there and the guy didn't do such a great job. But yeah, can't really shield the identity of an anonymous reviewer anymore, at least in California. And I don't have a slide for it, but I was reading about it just before the show. Another big legal issue is how many states now, Missouri did it a day or two ago, and they filed, maybe even Friday, I can't remember, filed a lawsuit that is, or at least starting to make its way through for restriction of trade on state levels. Missouri's leading the banner on this, although I think 4 or 5 other states have already decided to join this effort. And it's all about Google and whether or not that maybe they have a manufacturer or a reseller in their state, but they're way down on the search list, because guess what? Google's rise to the top. And this has been an issue that Google has lost in Europe already. So it's nothing new. They're not doing anything different than they did before when they got sued and fined over in Europe. But starting to see the states do it. And eventually, I think we're going to see the feds do it too. We'll be back in a minute.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free, for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls. Now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And we're back, and while I'm waiting for HotCom to reboot once again, because it always takes, like 2 minutes for it to log in. We'll see. Maybe it's ready to do something here. Nope. Hang on a second. Still no charts, and it doesn't. If I take that off, it says the camera comes off, but if I actually do the camera, it won't say that the camera's on. So I have no idea. Maybe something's broke here. I have no idea. Well, let's try this. Nope. It will never say that the camera's on. It just says that the camera comes off. It shows me that it's off. So I have no idea why HotCom's not working. Okay, so I can't really show you anything. Maybe I'll try to reboot the computer at the break and see whether or not it's something on my side or if we've got something broke. I wanted to talk about GoPro and also talk about talk about Roku. And the questions were that I think it was an offhand comment about how is Roku the next GoPro? And I don't really know about that, but I wanted to talk about the mechanics of giant short squeezes. And we've seen that in Roku the last few days, OKU. 2 days after it went public, it started gaining short positions. And if you're a fan of understanding shorts and what happens, the mechanisms in the market, One of the things that you know is that if you have your shares of Roku in a margin account, then other people can borrow those shares and sell them short. One of the things that's not uncommon to see, it's not every day, but if you want to run, if you're a stock operator and you want to run a big operation in a stock, one of the things you can do is get everybody all hot to short a stock. And then what do? You have, let's say you're a Fidelity or you're one of these other big companies and you're wanting to get out of a stock. The easiest thing to do is get everybody short and then take all those shares that you have and move them to a non-margin account. Suddenly, everybody in the next 3 days has to cover their short positions. Now, I don't know about Roku. I think we will find out fairly soon. But if we want to go back and look at GoPro, this is exactly how they engineered GoPro's run up past 100. They would bring shares in and out. Let me get this thing back here a little bit. It got to $98.47 on October 7th. This is where you really need to look at shares of stock that haven't been trading for a while, especially in stocks that have a high degree of ownership by a handful of people. In the old days, they used to call this the pools, and those were made illegal in the 30s after the boom bust of 1929. But it's not uncommon to see a stock trade well in advance of any kind of earnings they would have. But this is not an unknown trick in the marketplace. But if you ever wondered how GoPro got to 98 bucks, they would repeatedly bring shares in and out of the margin account. And every time the shares would come out of the margin account, guess what? Everybody has to cover. Every time the margin, they put them back into a margin account, then there were lots of shares to borrow short in GoPro. And that is one of the ones that if you're really wondering about how these things work and why suddenly a little bit of good news on earnings on a company that hasn't made money ever and doesn't really have that much of the way in the sales, you can fairly easily do two things: come out with a little good news, then withdraw the margin in the stock, and then see it go up. And I kind of see the same elements in Roku. Doesn't mean it's a horrible company. Doesn't mean that they won't ever make money. Although I'm always a little bit cautious about a stock like GoPro or something that's based on a story that probably is a little flaky. Now, GoPro's story when they went public was that they were going to be the biggest media company next to well, what am I trying to say? Next to, probably YouTube would probably have been the best thing. That was the story on GoPro. Now, we kind of all understand the story on Roku. It's not as complicated as GoPro's story was. But when you see these giant squeezes, it's not uncommon to see them this time of year. We see a lot of M&A action out there. And when you see these huge spikes, like we're seeing in some of these stocks out here, one of the things you want to look at is the short position on it. When I was talking to Tom O'Brien on Friday, that's what I brought up. At least the NASDAQ was showing 5 million shares short on Friday. I think that maybe that's come down a little bit since this huge run. But again, it's one of these deals where what can you say? It's something you just want to keep an eye out for. There's a handful of stocks that everybody perpetually shorts, and most of these stocks have been out for a while. Once they're out for a while, a lot more people tend to get into them. After the IPO's out, of course, one of the things they want to do is get those shares out in as many hands as possible. So this kind of effective thing after an IPO does kind of wear out over time. It's a lot harder to find some big company that owns a big enough share And the question is, of course, since it's illegal for them to collude on all pulling stocks out of margins accounts and putting them in non-margin accounts to cause a short squeeze. But, you see one big company does it, then I think a lot of the other guys go, well, it probably would be a smart idea for us to do this too. We can get out of a lot of shares very quickly by doing this. And we'll take a look at that. When we come back, you can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. I'll try to reboot my machine, get everything working, and get everything taken care of during the break. So this would be a good time to give us a call. You can also email me at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, I always post a message in the den. We'll be back after this short time out.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And I think we're back. Let me get a couple of things going here. I wanted to, let's take a look at ROKU now that we have charts back, hopefully. I think we do. So what do we got? Okay, so we got up to 48.80 today. The low of the day is 38.92, but you've got kind of the dark clouded cover on this. But again, it's just keep an eye on some of these. Now, this one's kind of interesting because we had basically a 3-gap play on this, and I've been wondering whether or not this is not some kind of extreme short squeeze, but we'll take a look at those things later. Wanted to look at one of the stocks with earnings. There wasn't a lot out here today, and of course the market's pulling back a little bit as we do that. But Stratasys, these 3D printing stocks have been under assault for a while. This one actually looking a little bit better today. Did get up to about 24 and then kind of rolled back over. Wasn't able to get through this gap of the 1st of November. That had, let's call it 2 million shares. Okay, so let's take a quick look at DDD. See if it got any action today. And it's back to this stop. We've talked about how these could get back to these lower levels that have been around for a while. $6 is the low on January 20th. Okay. Go ahead and check my email now if I can get that up and running. Okay. Question about what I think's going on in the market. We're off 8 points on the S&P cash. I suspect some kind of small turn or a small, at least small term low is probably going to be in, I think I said that at the top of the hour, going to be in somewhere around here in the next 24 hours. And so we might see one more push tomorrow, but I would not be surprised to see fairly decent pop back up to 2,600 on the S&P cash for Friday's expiration. See if we got a few other ones out here people wanted to see. Got some requests to look at Apple very quickly. Let's just take a look at that. Don't think much is going on in Apple. They've been getting a lot of bad press the last couple of days. Hadn't really hammered the stock any more than the market being down itself. Volume's been light these 3 days. What do we have? 25 million shares on Friday. Yesterday we had 17 million shares. Today, 17 million shares as we come into this gap up on 60 million shares. So, you know, 170 bucks, 171, something like that. What did we see a low here? 171.47 for today. If could this hit 170 bucks, I think it could. And would that be a big surprise to see this thing expire at 170 bucks on Friday? Probably not. But my guess is that they're probably going to bounce this thing to 172.50 from looking at the options. So that it's not a huge move on the way up, but it is a move a little higher. We're also looking at the SMHs. Got a request to take a quick look at those. They haven't busted the downside either. Another reason I think that we're probably going to see at least one more attempt in the SMHs for 104.40. Just not much going on today. 1.1 million shares, a little more today. So not a lot of juice. You had the huge down day with 7.8 million shares on the 9th. But volume has been rather tepid on that side. See if there's any difference on the stocks. Out here, I'll take a quick look. Not a whole bunch. Let's look at the stocks. X real quick. I don't see anything in that. No real trend line busts to the downside. You had the one heavy day. That's kind of acting as support. If you were looking at something in the way of a 3x3 retracement on this one, let's do that. You've got your first close underneath for 3 days, actually 4 days, under the 3x3 displaced moving average. You'd love to see this thing go back above it and then close back below it to give you the signal that some kind of longer term high is in on these semis that have led the world. My thought is that this probably could just go sideways into the end of the year. This is the strongest sector. You're in the strongest part of the year for the strongest sector. Whatever it's going to be, people are not going to probably want to sell until January 2nd or 3rd. So that is problematic. But even if this was the middle of the summer when I was looking at it, what you want is a couple more closes above and then a close below. If you don't have the displaced moving average, then you use a 9-day moving average because it's going to be kind of close for all of that. But this is a very good Joe DiNapoli pattern. When you look at this, not too bad. It's kind of interesting out here. And we'll look at a few other ones. Wanted to look at a couple of stocks that we talked about yesterday. Wanted to see how some of these other ones are doing that were hanging at these highs. Talked about U.S. Steel and some of these steel stocks coming off. Again, these things are they came down, popped up on the November 1st. Did so with 39 million shares. You're down today with about 6 million shares. So this gap up, somewhere around 26 bucks out here. This does get in there with light volume maybe tomorrow. You'd like to see maybe a little bit more of a push down in there. You might find some bottoms between now and the end of the year for some of these stocks. Let's take another look at some of them out here. Request to look at Qorvo. QRVO. Some people call it Broadcom. They should have done a better job of figuring out what name is on this one. This is one I thought was kind of interesting in the bigger scheme of things because it did bust the May 31st high of 79.34 that had 3 million shares. And what you did was come into it with 1.66 million shares. You even spiked it on Friday with 1 million shares that reversed back in here. It's moved down a couple of days. But again, the volume, let's just zoom in here the last few days. The volume has been 3 days, a little lower. So not too bad. What else do I want to look at? Wanted to see a follow-up on Wix. This is the website development company that didn't do well on earnings. That's that big gap down. Let's zoom on in this. From the 8th of November, we came down on 5.6 million shares. And this is back into the gap up of 2 million shares. So this one may have broke. Still there? Don't hear any music. We'll be back in.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks! Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
The Taz Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the Taz Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the Taz Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profiles So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the Taz Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
I show gold up 350, crude down a buck, and I don't know if it matters a whole lot on the rest. The most interesting thing to me was that earlier in the day that we were down significantly on the dollar index. Really didn't see much in the way of gold moving higher, but got a little interest out here. Again, I would love to see this thing spike down for a day and get an opportunity to get in. It may not give us that, but kind of interesting patterns out here in the GLD. So wanted to talk a little bit about Buffalo Wild Wings. I seem to talk about this one a lot on the show because I used to go a lot, and then it got literally more expensive than eating a filet at Rody's. Is it Rody's? Randy's? Roadhouse? One of those. And getting, 12 wings and some celery didn't seem to be a great value. Used to play trivia nights there on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Buffalo Wild Wings got a buyout offer. I always wonder about how true these things are. I looked into it a little bit. It does look like there's maybe something out here to this. It's only like $2.5 billion, so it's not that much. Cody's Roadhouse. Yeah, that's it. The reason I know that one is when I have relatives down, instead of cooking, they're open on Thanksgiving and Christmas Day. So it's just easier to go to those folks. But I've gone to them during the week too, but they always think of them as the last resort on bad days out here. Let's go to Steve from Nashua. How you doing, Steve?
Hey, David. How are you?
Good.
Good, good. Say, I was interested in your technical take on Roku. I believe it's a fairly new, couple months.
Yeah.
It's been out, I think. And it just reminded me of, is it like a super early stage Netflix type of a thing?
That's the story. But we've always heard things, it's not uncommon after a successful stock to have another stock pitched in the same vein. We saw a lot of Spanish restaurants act like they were Chipotle at one time, and they never really got off. To me, Roku is a very interesting thing because it is almost a Rorschach test on whether you think that streaming has a lot of money in it. The thing that I found kind of interesting is the retail sales numbers before they went public don't really show any kind of enormous growth. They've kind of got it now in the first earnings report. But to see a stock kind of double like this, and then get the hammer on it today, and get a 3-gap play out of it, just reminds me a lot of GoPro too.
Sure, yeah.
GoPro had with that, but technically it's very hard to do anything with a stock that can be heavily manipulated, like we said, especially when these IPOs are new. That's one of the reasons why you probably won't find a lot of people in technical analysis that spend a lot of time chasing IPOs.
Yeah.
It's the same thing of trying to go and ask 50 people who's going to be the next president. It's just not a big enough sample size. Shares come in and out. There's a lockup period that's coming. That'll be 180 days out for Roku. So there's a lot of different things that happen, and that's why after a couple of years, it's a lot easier to trade. And of course, the thing you look at now is, okay, this thing bounced. Is it going to do an ABC to 100 or something? And
right. What? I'm sorry to interrupt you there.
No, I was going to say,
I looked back to day one of Netflix, just a general comparison. You know, when it shows it's like 0 on the charts, of course, back then. And where it is today, of course, we all know. But there was a quote, and I'm not quoting exactly, paraphrase from the head of Netflix. I forget the gent's name. Reed something, maybe.
Reed Hastings.
He said something about the linear television watchers, which is what, I guess, your Comcast, your DirecTV type of thing, versus the online. They've been declining, or they're going to decline in the next 20 years. And he said the Netflixes of the world, Netflixi, whatever, is going to increase in the next 20 years. The streaming. That was his general statement. So anyway, that I really just wanted to get a general sense of what this thing is, really.
Well, it basically, they make a little dongle that plugs into your TV. They also make some boxes, but everybody kind of buys either the Fire Sticks or the Chromecast or these Roku sticks. The big thing with Roku is it has a lot of products that you don't have to pay additionally for.
Yeah.
But they have commercials. So it is a commercial alternative, commercially subsidized alternative to things like Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu and all the other ones that you pay $10 for. The question that I was talking about, Tom, was if you're watching like news or maybe a sports news show or something like that, interruptions are probably not a big deal. But I find it almost impossible now to watch a movie or even watch TV shows with commercials in them. So the question is Roku going to be a big alternative to commercially broadcast TV when you have a TiVo kind of built into everybody's box already, and you can watch it another time, right?
I see.
You can watch it on demand. So the question is on demand, but with commercials, opposed to no commercials. And I don't think that that's something that a lot of people have figured out, because most people, once they get used to Amazon Prime and Netflix, it's very tough to watch commercials on anything that you want to watch at night. If it's a 30-minute show, not such a big deal. If it's an hour show, a little tougher. If it's a movie length show, like 2 hours, it becomes kind of almost obnoxious for me now. Yeah. So that is the question. Now, is there 2 tiers of people that just won't pay $10 a month and those that will? So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, right now I went from Dish to DirecTV to Comcast over the past 15 years.
Yeah.
Really, they're all the same. You've got 8 to 10 to 12 channels that are identical. You got all the Spanish stations. If you're not Hispanic, I'm not. I don't need them, want them. You got a bunch of repetitive content. When we're really watching only 10 to 15 stations all the time. You know, they say you get 240 channels, but what good is it if you're only watching 15 to 20?
Yes, I'm not a big Oxygen channel or Bravo channel watcher myself, but I would like to watch Velocity. I like to watch them working on
yeah,
cars
absolutely.
and stuff. I don't mind the
it this morning.
commercials when I'm watching, overhauling or all the other stuff that I like to watch. But it is that longer segment part, and can you hang on through the break? Because I'd like to talk to you to the end of the show on it.
Actually, I can't. I'm sorry, but I guess time will tell. I'll keep my eye on it for sure. But thank you very much for your information.
You bet. So anyway, we're going to go to break here. We'll be back in a minute.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge Heard Daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Hi, folks, this is Tom O'Brien. Come join me next hour as we bisect and dissect these markets. Right here on TFNN. Wow!
And just keeping a little look out here on BlackBerry. We talked about Sears for maybe 3 years before it's done what it's done lately. It's amazing how you can take the carcass of a company that continues to go lower and kind of wring just every dime out of it before it goes under. I don't see any way that BlackBerry ever survives long term, but it is kind of amazing how long these stocks can last. This thing pretty much in $11 or $12 range gets hammered down again, but Sears Holding SHLD. Let's go back. I got a bad tick in this thing, but let's see. See if I can get rid of it real quick here. There we go. We're down at about $3 range, but how long did it actually take to go back out of here? You know that it's been dying forever, and they push it back up one more time and sell a few stores, basically grind a lot of cash back out of these things. Anyway, just some thoughts on some of these out here, but looking at BlackBerry, you just kind of know that these things are eventually going under. The question is just when. But these Walking Dead stocks, especially around Christmas, a lot of times, a lot of people are short on these things. You start seeing rather dubious information. And one of the reasons why, if I don't have a very compelling reason that a stock's going down in the next few days, I tend to kind of shy away from shorts going into the end of the year. Anyway, we're off 6.5 points, 2.5 billion shares. We'll see how the volume comes in at the end of the day. But like I said, I kind of think that we're in that next 24 hours of finding some kind of low that pops us back up to 2,600, even for a short time for Friday's expiration. And then we'll kind of see what's going to happen. Anyway, I finally found some audio there. But hang on for Tom O'Brien and Andy Heck. And have a good end of the day here at TFNN. Sell when you can, not when you have to. See you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pezzavento and John Jameson are teaming up for a live hour-long webinar Wednesday, November 15th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, titled The Hidden Secrets Behind Trading and Investing in Cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are some of the most volatile trading markets in the world right now, and this is a webinar that you will not want to miss. In this live 60-minute webinar, John and Larry will discuss a variety of topics, including where cryptocurrencies trade and how to get started, how to recognize supply and demand in cryptocurrencies, and the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and why knowing this one piece of information puts you in the top 1% of cryptocurrency traders, as well as many more topics. Visit the front page of TFNN.com for all the information and to sign up today for Fibonacci 24/7, and we'll see you Wednesday, November 15th for the hidden secrets behind trading and investing in cryptocurrencies.